Huh. What a book. What a book. I got to get Jerry Lawler on to talk about him. We're on. Oh, hello, everyone. Bill Apter down here at Apter's Alley. And welcome to Bill Apter's weekly video magazine podcast. Glad you could join us. I was sitting here looking at this book, enjoying it. Is this for real? The Unbelievable Andy Kaufman by Box Brown, who is such a good cartoonist and artist. And I'm always, people know that I'm the guy who introduced comedian Andy Kaufman to Jerry the King Lawler. And Box Brown was a big fan of Andy Kaufman, and he put this book together. And I am so honored that I'm even in the book. So you can get this book, The Unbelievable Andy Kaufman, Box Brown, right to new webcam. So I'm just figuring out what goes where here on Amazon. Want to welcome everybody. 7 o'clock, you're all on time. So we have a lot to talk about. So again, this is not the interactive part of our magazine show. As you know, we run this show every Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time from Apter's Alley. And, there we go. I got the comb over okay? And by the way, got so many comments about what a great job I have after people saw my interview with the lovely Brandy Rhodes. If you haven't seen it, go to onewrestlingvideo.com and check it out. But not now. Stay here with us live. First thing I want to do is here in the Northeast, in the Philadelphia burbs, we got hit with such a horrible nor'easter. And this morning, as I was shoveling out, my friend Mike, who lives across the street and 3 houses down, he's a house inspector, he's a handyman, but more than that, he's a great guy. And while he was helping me shovel these big boulders of ice, we got to talking, and he reminded me that his daughter, Magnificent Molly, is still a big wrestling fan, watches Monday Night Raw every week. So I want to send a shout out, and we should all do this, to Mike and Molly for helping me get out of my driveway this morning. So, yeah, thank you so very much. Okay, let's move on here. And a lot of people have been asking me, what's going on for WrestleMania weekend, Bill Apter? Where are we? Go to Kayfabe Events on Facebook. Oh, itchy nose again. Not going to fight. Kayfabe Events on Facebook. And there you will find out that Thursday night in New Orleans at 5 o'clock on WrestleMania weekend, I will be doing my one-man show. All the details, how you can get into my one-man show, how you can join my one-man show. It's a warm-up to the Mania party. There will be refreshments with the big F word, 4-letter F word, Free, free refreshments, and maybe from England. That would be great, because the people that booked me from Kayfabe Events for this event are coming all the way from England to enjoy the weekend as well. And of course, I am booked all weekend at WrestleCon by Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. I'll be at the same table as James J. Dillon, who's going to be our guest very shortly, Tully Blanchard, C.W. Anderson, Barry Windham, and lots more people. So let's get right now to the to that big headline of the week. We're only going to do one headline because I have a guest waiting who wants to get on here, and we want to talk to him. The big headline, of course, is Daniel Bryan has been medically cleared to compete again. And as you saw on SmackDown, this was not met with great adoration from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who thought they had Daniel Bryan in their pocket, so to say, and they beat the tar out of him in the ring. and it was really bad. So what's going to happen, Bill Apter? Is that what you're asking? What's going to happen? Well, here's what I think is going to happen. As you know, Shane McMahon has taken a temporary leave of absence from Monday Night Raw. I'm sorry, from SmackDown, leaving Daniel Bryan as the only official there. I think now that Shane McMahon had his butt kicked by Owens and Zayn, and Daniel Bryan had his butt kicked by Owens and Zayn, it would only make sense at WrestleMania, instead of having Sami Zayn against Kevin Owens, to have a tag team match with Zayn and Owens in this corner, and the other corner, even though they don't agree all the time, Shane O'Mac. And yes, Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, I wish you the best of luck here, because you really have to be careful. All those issues you had with your health that made you retire, the brain lesions, the concussions, everything, some of the physical injuries. A lot of us would feel better had you stayed in the role of, well, an official on SmackDown, but the people want to see you back. Your wife is supporting this, and I want to send a big thumbs up right there. Big thumbs up to your lovely wife, Ray Bella, Ray Danielson, actually. And I'm looking forward to seeing you back in the ring, but I don't want you to get hurt. Don't want you to get hurt at all. So, yes, he was actually, Dougie Fresh Richards says he was cleared 2 years ago. Dougie Fresh Richards, I hate to argue with one of my viewers, but he was not cleared to compete in the ring 2 years ago. He had seizure issues, he had concussion issues, and much more. So we wish him a speedy in-ring comeback. And people are talking about they'd love to see him against Nakamura. They'd love to see him against AJ Styles. I would too. So let's see what his comeback looks like. So right now, let's get started with our magazine format. And let's go to the gorilla position. By the way, that was named after Gorilla Monsoon, not Okay, so just wanted to make sure. Let's go to Ryan Bowman in the gorilla position before we go to our first guest. And let's check out who Ryan Bowman picked for this week's Wrestler of the Week. Ryan Bowman, let's hear from you.
I'm Ryan Bowman from thegorillaposition.com here on the Bill Apter Video Magazine podcast with this episode's Wrestler of the Week.
Okay, we can hear you now.
Tonight, we step outside the ring and think outside the box by awarding the Wrestler of the Week to someone who didn't have a single match. He didn't win or lose, but had a bigger impact and captured more attention in the world of professional wrestling than anyone else. The emancipation of Daniel Bryan nearly broke the internet early on Tuesday when news that he's finally medically cleared to wrestle became public. The four-time world champion's triumphant and emotional return that night on SmackDown only added to his legacy and to the buzz as we head down the road to WrestleMania. Yeah. And while he may have taken a beating at the hands of Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn on Tuesday, that turn of events is no doubt leading to his first competitive match in almost 3 years. In the end, Daniel Bryan's story is one of courage and of never doubting your dream, which for all of wrestling's fairy tales may be the greatest story of them all.
Yeah.
For all he's accomplished, for all he's overcome, and for all he's about to give us in the future, Daniel Bryan receives a very special honor as this edition's Wrestler of the Week.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ryan Bowman. And please go and visit www, not www, www.thegorillaposition.com. Ryan Bowman and his crew always put up incredible stories. They just did a great story on Rosemary, who so many of you are enthralled with. I am too, of course. So, yeah, check it out, thegorillaposition.com. All right, let's go turn the page on this magazine. Time now to get a hold of our first guest. And you people all know him. Mainly, got to put in my code on my Apter phone here. You people mainly know him as the the manager and advisor of the Four Horsemen, but he's so much more than that. And we had a classic interview on with him just a few weeks ago. And we're talking about JJ Dillon. So hopefully he picks his phone up.
Hello.
JJ Dillon, is that you?
Yes.
All right, hold on.
Apter?
Yes,
Bill Apter?
Mr. Apter, the Bill Apter. Is there more than one?
Really good to talk to you, my friend. We've known each other forever.
Well, likewise. There people ask me about my name and is it the Bill Apter? And there's only one other Bill Apter that I know of because I've seen him on Skype. I've never talked to him, and he's from the land down under in Australia.
I spent a year in Australia, but that name from down there is not familiar to me. But that's been a few years.
Well, he's not in
a long time ago.
He's not in the wrestling business, so
okay.
So I don't think either of us know. But if I get, I'm working with a gentleman named Mike Altamora, who's a boxing and part-time wrestling promoter in Australia, and we're talking about maybe coming down there for some one-man shows and the book either at the end of this year or early in 2019. So I'm gonna look up that Bill Apter if that happens.
Yes, I will say out front that if you get a chance to go, I strongly encourage you to put a deal together because it's one of the more fascinating places in the world that I've not only visited, but actually lived there for about a year. And we're talking a while ago, 1980. But I found that the people from Australia to be very warm, very friendly, and it's kind of a melting pot, much like the early years of our country.
Yeah,
where people came from different cultures, a lot of Greeks, a lot of Italians, and just the Australian people they love Americans. I can tell you that.
Well, I will tell you something, and a lot of people know this, that I was very dear friends for about 3 or 4 years, sharing an apartment. Just sharing an apartment, nothing went on with Susan Sexton, who was the Australian ladies champion for many years. Actually, she was with me when I brought Andy Kaufman to my apartment to talk about how to get him into pro wrestling.
Mm.
Yeah. So she was a big Ramones fan, by the way. I don't know if everybody in Australia likes the Ramones.
The Ramones. That's very familiar.
Yeah, Gabba Gabba Hey. Some of you people know. Anyway, so welcome to the Apter Chat. It was good to see you a few weeks ago in Awesome Wrestling Entertainment. We were in the ring together along with some of the Horsemen. And you will be at Awesome Wrestling Entertainment's table along with me at WrestleCon. Tully Blanchard will be there, C.W. Anderson, Barry Windham, Short Sleeve Sampson, and some other major stars. So I hope everybody will come out and see us in New Orleans.
We're talking about New Orleans.
Yes, correct? Yes.
Yeah, I'm really excited. It's been a number of years since I've been to New Orleans. I found the people there to be wonderful. You go down the French Quarter. It's a fascinating place to walk around in terms of nightclubs and restaurants, and just are great people. And whoever made the decision to bring WrestleMania there made a wise decision. And they say that with WrestleMania, it's our Super Bowl of wrestling, and that approximately 100,000 people will converge upon the greater area surrounding WrestleMania.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
One of them, and you too.
Yes, and there'll be a lot of there's a lot of independent wrestling shows. Later on tonight, we're going to have Joe Koff, the main man from Ring of Honor, on. They have an incredible show running. There are so many groups running shows down there. It's the New Orleans, Louisiana is the place to be. And for the first time in history, my son, Brandon, has never been to a WrestleMania. This is going to be his first one.
Wow, it's like I say, I don't know any other way to describe it other than that it is the Super Bowl of wrestling. It's become an annual tradition, and wherever the city is, I mean, they bid a year or two in advance to bring the event. That's the impact that it has on the local economy. So
yeah,
and New Orleans is certainly a wise choice.
What year did you start in the office in WWE?
Oh, trying to remember back. I want to say.
Well, actually, instead of telling us, okay, so WrestleMania,
like 86.
Yeah. So WrestleMania, where was it at that point?
The time I came, WrestleMania had been 1 year in Atlantic City, and I came in at the end of the year, and the WrestleMania that followed was a repeat back in Atlantic City.
Yeah.
They haven't done that very often, but it was a very popular venue.
Yeah, I think that was that Trump Tower back then, or one of the Trump hotels?
Trump Tower.
One of those.
I was there from 89 to 96, and Trump Tower was the building was purchased during the years that I was.
Oh,
there.
no! I that's not what I mean. I mean, isn't that where they ran WrestleMania in Atlantic City at the Trump Hotel?
I thought it was on the boardwalk at the convention hall, but I may be mistaken.
I may be mistaken also.
That's the only large venue that I'm aware of in Atlantic City, or was at that time.
Okay, all right. So the night before WrestleMania is now left for NXT, but 2 nights before WrestleMania, on Friday night, the Hall of Fame will be taking place, and I know that you of course are a WWE Hall of Famer,
and proudly so, I might add.
Yes.
I'm fortunate enough to wear 2 Hall of Fame rings. 2012, I was inducted as part of the Four Horsemen at the ceremony, which that year was in Miami. And the following year, I had the honor of being inducted into the actual Professional Wrestling Hall of Fame, which at that point was located. Tony Villano started it up in Albany, New York, and it's since been relocated to Texas, to Dallas. So I am the proud holder of two Hall of Fame rings, which I wear very proudly when I go out for personal appearances.
Yes. Well, are you bringing them with you? I was going to say, are you bringing them to WrestleCon?
Well, absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
All right. I want to, and the fans can pose with you holding those 2 rings. So let's talk about this year's class, because you know everybody in pro wrestling. People always say to me, Bill, after you have contacts, you know everybody. But I know everybody and you know everybody. So let's go over this year's class of WWE inductees. And you've generally got a story on everybody. So let's start off with one that was a real surprise to a lot of the fans, and to me too, because of a lot of political issues that have gone on through the years. And it's so nice now to see that stuff doesn't exist anymore. Jeff Jarrett going in this year, 2018 Hall of Fame inductee.
Yes, I'm very happy for him. I've known Jeff for a number of years, but actually closer to his father, Jerry Jarrett, who was one of the true legends in our industry that has done it all, from being in the ring with the tights to being in management and owning a territory, and then working in the front office. And he worked for Vince McMahon, and also worked for Ted Turner in an executive position. And one of the true smart people in our business that really understands the industry.
Jeff Jarrett had that great character in WWE as a country music singer, only to be found out that Road Dogg, he was lip syncing. Road Dogg was doing the singing all the time. Do you remember that character, Double J?
Are you saying that he couldn't sing a lick?
Well, I'm not saying it. I mean, that's what it proved out there.
The cat's out of the bag.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I'm kidding, of course.
I know.
He was, I think he smashed more guitars over people's heads than he ever strummed.
That's right. That's right. He did. He absolutely did that. Your feelings on, all the years, and like I just said, that with all the politics, and of course, being one of the 3 or 4 people to kick off TNA, etc., and some of the things you say that are not nice about the other companies sometimes when you're trying to make your own business. Isn't it great that WWE has just said, just forget all that. You belong in the Hall of Fame?
Well, I think, too, the reality set in that I know Vince McMahon always had tremendous pride in the brand that he established, and give him credit. He's the first and only person that really has established a global brand all over the world.
Yeah.
Which is what he initially, first he started it in a regional area, and it was not handed down from his father, and I worked for his father.
I know you did.
Wonderful gentleman. But he bought the business and then had the vision of wanting to go national, one of the early people, and then the next step, of course, was to go global, and which the brand has done and done so successfully. So you can't knock success.
Yeah, no, not at all. But like I said, I'm glad he's opened the door. So the next person I want to talk about is one of the most entertaining people in the history of WWE, and we're talking about Hillbilly Jim.
Yes, and a great talent. And he also, for the time that I was in the front office from, let's say, 1989 to 96, a lot of people don't know, but Hillbilly Jim was a person who was recognizable by virtually anybody that ever watched a single televised wrestling program. And so he was a natural choice to be the front person and the spokesperson for what was then branching out into a whole new industry, which was Coliseum Video.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And he was the person that would go to the trade shows, and like I say, was instantly recognizable. Everybody knew who he was, and also very personable. If you're going to have somebody represent you with whatever businesses you were in, you want somebody like Hillbilly Jim that always had a smile on his face, and always had a hug for everybody that he saw. And there aren't many people, and I think you could attest to this, Bill, where you could say in the whole history of the business, if I had to make a list of people that I never heard anybody say a negative thing about, it wouldn't be too long a list. But Hillbilly Jim would definitely be on that list of somebody who anybody that ever talked about him in a positive manner.
Yeah, and the several years ago when my book came out, and I did my first book signing and one-man show, which was at Legends of the Ring several years ago, the convention, which is coming up in June, everybody, by the way. And in the middle of my show, he just walked in. And he came up and he just started smiling, shaking hands with everybody, gave me a big hug, wished me luck with the book. And it was wonderful, because he is what you see is what you get with him.
Yeah, I think that if you had to narrow it down to one word, I think genuine would be the first word that comes to mind. He's
Absolutely.
One of the genuine people in all the years that I was around the wrestling profession that, like I say, everybody had a kind word to say about him, because he was a great guy and definitely a credit to our profession.
And a real country boy.
Yes, a genuine country boy.
Yes. All right. Let's move on now to the female side, the lovely and talented, and what a great technician in the ring, Ivory.
Yes, and again, I never followed the women's side all that much, but it's wonderful that the women have earned the right to be recognized for the things that they've accomplished in our industry.
Yeah,
and I'm very happy for her.
And she really knew her way around the ring. She was a really good competitor, no matter what characters she was put in, etc. What she did in the ring always shined. It really did.
Yes, and I don't know her all that well on a personal level, so I'm not being my lack of sharing a lot of information is because with all the years that you and I've been around the business, I've met many people, and some that I've been around and associated with more than others, but I don't know that there's anybody that's been around the business that either you or I haven't met at some point.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Two guys that I know that you knew pretty well, Devon and Bubba Ray, the Dudleys.
The Dudleys, yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, great, really, really great tag team. When ECW started, I think they were at the core of launching that brand too.
Absolutely.
And that's where they first, established their name. And, they've since, gone off as individuals, and they could come back at any time as a tag team. And either way, they were very successful, and a credit to our profession as well.
Yeah. And then Devon had that, even though he's one of the toughest guys, had that very sweet disposition, but Bubba Ray, you really didn't want to get on the wrong side of.
Yeah. And, you and I, like I say, have been around the business long, and we probably want to talk about because we're giving our age away, but we all knew in the industry who were the guys that, not that you and I had, our personalities were such that we didn't go around with a chip on our shoulder or picking fights, but
correct.
But we knew who the people who sometimes spoke out of turn, who were the people that they should be careful of not speaking out of turn with specific individuals.
Right.
And certainly the Dudleys would be right near the top of the list.
No, if you want to pick a fight with somebody in a light or dark alley, it should not be with either Bubba Ray.
Pick you or me, because we were not people who had a reputation for having won a lot of fights.
No, definitely.
You and I were, one thing we had in common, we were politicians. We knew how to stay friends, which is very difficult in this industry with those people that we came in contact with.
Yeah, very difficult to do that. And finally, the man who set the world on fire going in to the WWE Hall of Fame this year, and that is Goldberg. Yeah, Bill Goldberg.
Yes.
An amazing story.
He's an interesting individual. I was working with WCW, and the power plant was where they were trying to hopefully develop some of the future stars in our business. And Paul Orndorff, who was one of the true legends and great successful guy. And if you're going to have somebody who wanted to have a positive image of what our business was all about, and somebody that you want to stay in line. He was a guy that you didn't want to disparage our industry or say something negative, because he could set you straight in a heartbeat.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
He was there in charge of the power plant, and that's when Goldberg came. And Bill was not a wrestling fan, or did not come from a background in the wrestling industry. He was more into football. He was an outstanding college football player. Started in the pros and suffered an injury that basically ended his career. And he came to the power plant wanting to use his legitimate athleticism, and he wanted to learn the wrestling business. And he was very respectful, which is why people wanted to help him. And again, a lot of our, as you know, Bill, a lot of our success in our industry is being the right place, the right time.
Correct.
And he was at the time where Stone Cold Steve Austin was at the top of his game with the WWF/WWE. And if you took an 8x10 publicity photo of him and put Goldberg next to him, you would say it looked like it must be a mirror image.
Yeah.
So he was the right place, the right time, with the right look, and wanted to take advantage of the opportunity of learning.
And what they did with him was amazing, because to me, and I always tell people this, he became the Mike Tyson of wrestling, because people used to love to go to a Mike Tyson fight to see that 1-round knockout. Well, that's what Bill Goldberg did. The guy got in there, jackhammer, spear, jackhammer, 1-round knockout.
And I'm going to give you a little bit of the behind the scenes history. The nice thing about the power plant was that you had the Paul Orndorffs, you had the late Mike Graham and the heritage of the Graham family that were there as part of the instructing team. And if you were going to learn, you were learning from a couple of the best. The problem is, at that particular time in our business, there wasn't the opportunity like I had when I was learning my craft for the old territory days, where you could go to a territory, appear on the local television that they produced.
Yeah.
Hopefully be given an opportunity to develop whatever your strengths were, whether it was your in-ring skills or hopefully your interview skills or some combination of both, and be given an opportunity. And then the rest was up to your talent to go ahead and take advantage of that opportunity. And by the time Goldberg came, the territories didn't exist anymore.
Right.
So here's a guy who had the athletic background. He certainly looked the part, but where was a guy like that going to go to? It's like anything else. You could be. I relate a lot of things to baseball. You could be in a batting cage with some of the great hitters of all time that are tweaking your stance and your way that you attack pitches and so forth. But until you get into a game where you're standing and there's a pitcher on the mound that's not throwing a ball that comes in right down the middle every pitch, and you always have to be aware that he's going to buzz you.
Yeah. He's
going to come tight and inside, and you got to be prepared to get out of the way. And at the same time, if he lays one down the middle of the plate, you may only get one of those at bat, and you got to be prepared to attack it. Do something with. So wrestling is no different. And unfortunately, when Goldberg came into it, there wasn't that place to go and learn. And so he had to do it the hard way. But he certainly was the right place, the right time.
Wow.
Had to look. And he went out and is one of the great success stories of our industry.
Yeah, I remember meeting him the first time backstage at a WCW live show, and he was sitting on one of those production crates. And I said, "Hey, I'm Bill Apter." He says, "Hey, how you doing?" I said, "Fine." I said, "What's your name?" He said, "Bill Goldberg." I said, "What are they going to call you?" He says, "I don't know." Yeah. We have some questions coming in our sidebar chat bar
and
here.
Before you get into the questions, I want to give a shout out to Kevin Sullivan, who really looked at Goldberg. And the challenge was, yes, he put his hours in at the power plant. He had great instructors, but lacked that chance to go out as we did back in the day, to go to the territories and learn our craft. And he immediately went from being in the power plant to be presented with a great entrance, with the smoke and with all the things. And he came through the smoke and exhaled. It looked like a cloud of smoke coming out of his mouth. Probably one of the more impressive entrances that I've ever seen in the business. But then the problem is you get in the ring and the bell rings. And Kevin Sullivan at that time was in charge of the talent side of it. And the question came, well, what are we going to do? And Kevin said, well, why don't he just turn around and spear the guy, pick him up and jackhammer him and end up beating him in about 30 seconds. And of course, the response was just unbelievable.
Huge. That was now Kevin's idea.
Yeah. Now it's like a week later.
Wow.
All of a sudden, with all that was going on, not a lot of thought was put into it. Well, this is week 2. Now what are we going to do? He doesn't have this body of knowledge of having worked out in territories. And, well, I remember Kevin thinking for a second, and he said, well, we got a great response last week. You know what? Let's just do the same thing. So he went out there, jackknifed somebody, picked them up, dropped them, 1, 2, 3. The audience exploded.
Yeah.
And then we were all of a sudden caught in a scenario of week 3. What do we do?
Let's do it again.
The last 2 weeks. let's do it again, and then we'll try to figure it out. And
What a
then
great
it
story.
eventually became a streak where people started counting the number of consecutive wins. The unfortunate part was that Bill Goldberg never got a chance to go and develop a basic body of knowledge of the basics of wrestling.
Yeah.
And yet
He
it's
didn't
one
need
of the
it.
great success stories. He didn't need it.
He didn't need it.
That says it all.
That's a great story. And next time I see Kevin, I'm going to let him know we talked about that. Let's go to a couple of quick questions here. Yarda P99 says, I was always wondering how JJ scored an intercontinental title shot at Madison Square Garden against Tito Santana. How did that come about with no history in WWF to get a title shot like that?
Well,
good question.
Of all the great arenas in the country, if you're a wrestling fan, Bill, you could relate to this. If I said to you just one word as somebody in the wrestling industry, the Garden, what am I talking about?
Madison Square Garden.
Yes, exactly right. Madison Square Garden. And there's a Boston Garden that is a respected arena. There's a Maple Leaf Garden in Toronto. I think there was actually a garden out in Phoenix. So the garden name.
There was Sunnyside Garden too. Don't forget about that.
Sunnyside Garden.
Don't forget about that. I grew
Long
up there.
Island. But when you said to a diehard wrestling fan, the Garden, you didn't have to say Madison Square Garden. That was implied.
Yeah.
So for me, as a kid, born and raised in Trenton, New Jersey, that went to the old Garden and went to the Garden as it changed locations many times, going back to the era of Dr. Jerry Graham and Eddie Graham, Argentina Rocca, and Miguel Perez and Carl Von Hessen and all the legends.
Ricky Starr.
Ricky Starr, oh
Yeah.
my, yes. So I always felt that if I ever got a chance to break into the business, no matter where I went or what I did, I would never consider that I had, quote unquote, made it until I too can say, you know what? I wrestled in Madison Square Garden as well. And so the match that you're talking about,
Yeah.
I went to the regional territories. I held regional titles, Amarillo, Kansas City.
I remember.
You name it. And then because I started full time in Charlotte when I was 28 years old. I wasn't a kid.
Yeah.
So at that point, I had never wrestled in Madison Square Garden, and I was in Florida. And the person who was my mentor that I looked up to was Eddie Graham, who was one of the original Graham brothers. And of course, Dr. Jerry was a flamboyant one with his cigars and always did all the talking. And Eddie Graham stood next to him quickly. And then once you get into the industry, you find out that the real genius of our industry was Eddie Graham.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to go to Eddie Graham and work under his umbrella, where he had developed, Dick Murdoch. He had developed Jack Briscoe. And what he had done in Florida was unbelievable. So the chance to go down there and work for Eddie Graham was finally a dream come true to me. And I remember one day sitting in his office, in my office, actually. I had my own office.
I remember.
Eddie came in, and there was a chair on the other side, and he sat down, and I used to cherish those moments where I could just sit there like a sponge and just not even ask questions, just listen to whatever he wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
And I happened to mention, fond memories of going to the Garden, seeing he and Dr. Jerry, and I said I had hoped that someday I too could wrestle Madison Square Garden, but now it's late in my career. I'm kind of thought of more as a manager. And Eddie looked at me and he said, if you'd wrestled in the Garden, that would have really meant something to you, wouldn't it? And I said, yeah, in all honesty, it would have. And I didn't even think about the comment that he made. And then he left my office. And 2 days later, he came back in one day and he said, on April 23rd, this was 1984, they said, you are going to wrestle in Madison Square Garden.
Wow. So that's how it happened.
Oh,
wow. Yeah. Okay.
And I just, I was stunned. It's like he took that original conversation, immediately called Mr. Van Sr., who at that point was a heavy smoker, and he was terminally ill with lung cancer.
Yeah.
And someone who I thought the world of. And Eddie called Vince Sr., and shared that story with him. And he used to call me Jimmy.
Yeah.
And he said, I would love to make his dream come true. And Eddie came in and said, you're going to get a ticket to fly up to New York. You're going to work one date. It's going to be in Madison Square Garden. So that's how I ended there that night.
That's
originally Tito Santana was to have an intercontinental match with one of the Samoans that was like third down under Backlund and the Iron Sheik. And then Greg the Hammer Valentine was hot at that time. He was wrestling Bob Backlund. It was a 6-man tag match on that card with Paul Orndorff and Roddy Piper, David Schultz.
Yeah.
And so the night of the show, rather than have Tito take a win over one of the Samoans, I was just passing through and I got
you got the match,
slot, which fortunately was being recorded for the Madison Square Garden Network. So I actually have a record of that match.
That's great. We have another guest waiting, but before I let you go, and I'm sorry to the fans that we don't have time for all your questions, but JJ, will you come back another time?
I would love to.
Okay.
I would enjoy this. And the problem is you asked me a question and like the Nick Bockwinkel, if you asked me what time it was, they used to say, he first had to tell you how the watch was made before he told you what time it was. Well, and I think I'm guilty of much the
No,
same
that's
way.
fine. I love this. Amy Moore. And
all right, so let's do it again.
Wait. There's one more comment here. This lady named Amy Moore, and because of her first word here that's hyphenated, I have to put this in a Southern accent. Y'all check out JJ Dillon's podcast show and look up JJ Dillon Show and hit the follow button on Twitter, JJ Dillon Show. So,
well, thank you for the plug. I've enjoyed doing that show and got very favorable response. And, it's basically people write in with questions and comments, and that's what determines the subject matter.
All right. JJ, thank you so very much. And I will see you at WrestleCon. We'll be sitting next to each other. And I always love being around you. You're one of my favorite people.
All right.
All right. Thanks, JJ. Wow. What a great storyteller. We were slated for like 15 minutes, but I knew it was going to be longer. So let's move on here. Again, thank you we will have him on maybe on a different night. Just a JJ Dillon night, so you can ask any questions. Let's go right now to Travis Volts. Happy birthday, Travis. Do you have the Raw
Thanks,
rankings?
Bill.
Yeah.
Howdy, fans. T. Volts here with your audio Raw Top 10 for the week of spring. That's right. Spring has sprung.
And
as I record, we're coming from March 21st, 2018. And this is your Raw Top 10 for the legendary Bill Apter, as comprised by my team and I. WrestleMania is heating up, and our number 10 slot belongs to Sheamus. Number 9 belongs to his tag team partner, who did pick up a loss, but still went against the Monster Among Men, even though he lost. Give him credit for trying. Cesaro.
He did try.
Number 8, another loser at the pay window who fell in the lake of reincarnation, Bray Wyatt.
That was weird.
Why is a loser in the number 8 spot? Because this was still the biggest match in quite some time. Now, where does Bray Wyatt go from here? Does he come back completely in another persona? Or does he revert back to an old persona? Time will tell. Number 7 is Elias. Who wants to walk with Elias? Apparently nobody this week on Monday Night Raw. Number 6 goes to Monday Night Seth Rollins. Number 5 goes to the winner of the main event and one of the most trending items this week, Woken Matt Hardy. What did you fans think of the Ultimate Deletion? Let us know. You can hit me up on the Twitter. I am at PW Paper Champion. Also, what does Bill Apter think of the Ultimate Deletion? And better yet, where does Woken Matt Hardy go from here?
We'll talk.
Number 4 goes to the winner of the 6-man tag team match, the leader of the club, Finn Balor. Number 3 goes to a guy who had a very rough night. He may be in the main event at WrestleMania, but he was on a stretcher on Monday Night Raw after going to Suplex City while handcuffed. Roman Reigns.
Yeah.
Can he recover? And will the fans care? Very interesting chance from the fans on Monday. What does that mean for the eventual outcome at WrestleMania?
That was
And
nasty.
will Paul Heyman play a part in that?
Hmm.
Number 2 goes to our Intercontinental Champion, The Miz. Will he become the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion of all time? Or will he just be second best? Number 1, fans, of course, belongs to the monster among men, Braun Strowman, who continues to look unstoppable. Everybody wants to know, will he have a tag team partner at WrestleMania, or will he go it alone? Fans, let me know on the Twitter.
I think he's going alone.
Please, I want to know what you think. Braun Strowman, alone or mystery partner?
Alone.
Could it be Elias, or could it be somebody bigger at the show? Time will tell. Of course, these guys are all leading up to that Universal Champion, Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Guys, WrestleMania is right around the corner. I know I'm excited. I hope you are too. That's it for this week. Back to you, Bill.
Thanks, you,
Thanks.
Travis. And his birthday was yesterday. So big shout out for Travis Volts for his birthday. You know what? I think that Braun Strowman's tag team partner should be, if they demand that he get a partner, the return of Hornswoggle. Hornswoggle and Strowman against the Bar. Okay, right now, I feel like if any of you remember Ed Sullivan, whenever he was getting ready to get another guest on, he'd go, right now, we're going to put in a call to the COO of Ring of Honor, because there's Joe Koff, because there's a lot of stuff going on to talk about in Ring of Honor. So hang on a minute. Let's see if we can get him. Hopefully he's at his phone. He's an executive. He's got to be at his phone, as far as I know. Executives are always at their phone.
Joe Koff?
Is this Joe Koff?
It is.
This is
Joe Koff.
This is the Bill Apter. And I said, I hope he answers the phone, because executives, no matter what time of day or night it is, they will answer the phone.
We try.
Hi, Joe. Welcome to the Apter Chat.
Thank you, Bill.
And we're on live right now, and we have a lot of viewers. And you're on audio, I'm on video, and wanted to talk about the incredible event happening in New Orleans with Ring of Honor. And I'm going to be there. My son Brandon and I are definitely going to be there, because that's place to be. And the card is unbelievable. So many promoters were vying for Kenny Omega against Cody Rhodes. How did you get it?
I think, first of all, it's the exact best place to showcase that match of the whole weekend.
Yeah, because
it will be one of the largest houses of the weekend, and it'll be our biggest house since we took over Ring of Honor, Bill.
You know, I back up for 1 sec now. I wanted to congratulate on that. From what I understand, how many tickets have been sold approximately to date?
Well over 5,000.
Wow.
Yeah, and when you think about that, and I say the same, wow. You know, last year, a year ago, we were in Lakeland, Florida, which was a good 90 minutes to 2 hours from Orlando, and we had our biggest crowd then of our history, and we had the Young Bucks headlining against the Hardys.
Yeah.
So to think that 1 year later we can almost double the size of that crowd, and fortunately for our fans, and I'm happy for our fans, we're in New Orleans, so there's not a lot of long distance traveling to get to the show.
Yeah.
And you know, Bill, I think to answer your question about Cody and Kenny, we're the right place for that match. We have history with both those wrestlers. Of course, Cody is exclusive to Ring of Honor domestically, and Kenny works a lot of shows in New Japan and for us as well. So I think it was just fitting that to be the headline for that night, which is the super card. It is really a super card of honor. It just made sense.
What Ring of Honor, every time I go to the website, every time I watch the TV show here in Philadelphia, Ring of Honor keeps, they never get stale. It seems that you people are constantly reinventing. And again, this show in New Orleans is proof of that. What is it about Ring of Honor for you personally that you feel is making Ring of Honor every show be better and better?
Well, I think that has a lot to do with the talent that wrestles for us. And I think that they understand that when we wrestle for Ring of Honor, we're wrestling for a brand and a style of wrestling. And there's a lot of expectation with that brand, and it's a lot of fan expectation. But everyone gets up for it when we're at a live event or at our TV tapings. And I think what happens is that we all meet at that same place in those moments. They're very spontaneous. They're very authentic. And because of that, we feel the energy, and every card has to top the next card. And believe me, that's not an easy thing to do, as you all know.
Right.
You've been watching this business a long time, and I really appreciate it, and I really thank you for that comment about not getting stale.
No.
Because we work really hard at it. But I think one of the real reasons for that, Bill, and another reason that I think makes Ring of Honor special, and for all of you who are watching that very handsome Bill Apter and listening to me.
And Mike Homeover.
And exactly.
Yes.
If you haven't been to a Ring of Honor event, or you haven't watched Ring of Honor television, or watched this on our website through Honor Club, you're really missing what's really the best of professional wrestling right now. And a lot of the things that you're talking about and a lot of things that you're feeling with the vibe is really because our performers, our stars, our athletes, and they are athletes. We are an athletic sport. Mm-hmm. We really care about how they want to tell their story. And they are very, very collaborative with each other and with our creative team in telling the best story to titillate the fan, to excite the fan, to please the fan, and to exceed the expectation of the fan. I think that's what we're all seeing, and that's what we're all experiencing.
Tell us about plans and what's going on with Women of Honor. There's a big tournament going on.
That's going to be crowned. We're going to see who our winner is. It's coming up in the next set of weeks. So we're really excited about it. And I think Women of Honor speaks to the level of professional wrestling in women all across the country. I think wrestling right now, Bill, and I'm going to knock on wood because I don't want to give myself a jinx, is really at a high point right now. I think the level of wrestling across all platforms and across all promotion is probably as good as I can remember. And I think it says a lot about the people who are wrestling. And our Women of Honor really have stepped up. We have waited and we have watched and we've nurtured. And now the quality of match and the level of talent that you can see in a Women of Honor match is really, really top notch. So I think that we're not gender specific when we have expectations for our performers and for our athletes. they have to reach and meet that expectation. And I think as you'll see in the qualifying and the semifinals and then the finals, you're going to see that quality I'm talking about.
We always, people know that your association with Sinclair Broadcasting. Tell us what may be in the near or far future regarding more people being able to see Ring of Honor on TV. I know we can see it streaming. We can go to the website and catch it on YouTube. But what about the possible future of Ring of Honor in terms of getting out there even more?
I think that's always been our goal, and we've been a very expansive company since Sinclair bought it from Kerry Silkin back in 2011.
Yeah.
At the time we started, we were covering about 39% of the country. Right now, we're well over 50% of the country on over-the-air free broadcast. Plus, you are able to see us on 2 of our emerging networks, Stadium and Charge.
Right.
And we are constantly working to find a cable partner. I'm in chats right now with a couple of channels that seem promising, but these take time to develop. It's not, the real estate space on air, real estate space, Bill, is at a premium right now, and there's a lot of people looking for content. As we improve, as you say what you say about us, as the fans start showing up and talking about us, it helps us make those conversations go a little bit easier. But we will always strive to get into as many markets as we can, because we believe the country needs to see Ring of Honor everywhere.
Absolutely. And I look forward to coming to the show in New Orleans. That's where I will be that night. People ask me, where are you going? What shows? I'll be at WrestleMania. I'll be at Ring of Honor. Those are the only two shows I'll be at. And I'm doing my one-man show on Thursday. Hey, Joe, if you're in town on Thursday night, I'm doing my one-man show at 5 o'clock.
Well, that's great. If I happen to be in town and available, I would be an honor to see you work, Bill.
Well,
I've had the highest respect for you over the years, as you well know.
Likewise.
And, and like I said, the show that you're going to see, not only the Cody-Kenny match, but the championship match between Dalton Castle, who's been an amazing champion for us.
Yes.
His development, his growth has just been fabulous. He'll be facing the villain. We have Briscoes versus Jay Lethal and Tanahashi.
Yep.
I mean, these are world-class matches, which is why I think the Super Card of Honor at University of New Orleans Lakefront Center is going to be such a big event. And I was at the building last week. I happened to be in business on business in New Orleans, and I went out to the building just to kind of get a sense of what we will be dealing with at Super Card of Honor, and it was phenomenal. I had goosebumps. I'm going to have goosebumps. I'll probably be emotional when I see the size of the crowd.
That's great.
I'll get goosebumps when I see that arena filled the way it is, and when they start chanting. It's going to be magical, and it really is a credit and a testament to my guys and the men and women who wrestled. It's fabulous.
Take this the right way. Your fans are like the fans back in the heyday of ECW. They're dedicated, they're interactive, and they're great.
Yeah, we're excited. We're really excited to deliver a great product for everybody.
ROHWrestling.com. You can find out everything that's going on in Ring of Honor. And if people, are you on Twitter, Mr. Koff?
I know Ring of Honor is.
Okay.
I have a Twitter, but I really don't use it as much as I should.
Okay, that's fine. And if anybody wants to get a hold of him, if you have a cable partner or you just want to run something past him, you can tweet me at Apter1Wrestling, and I can get it right to his office.
That would be fantastic. And I really encourage anyone who knows and sees me at the event to please come up and identify yourself and tell me you heard it on the show, or it's your first, second, or third time with Ring of Honor. It always pleases me to find people who really come up and thank me, and I thank them. I'm more gracious to them. I have much more gratitude to them than for me, because they keep our business going, and they're the reason why we do what we do.
All right. An absolute pleasure to talk to you. You're one of the classiest gentlemen I've ever met in the wrestling business. So,
Bill,
know
you're flattering me. Thank you.
Well,
and I look forward to seeing you and your son next April 7th, and we'll visit some more.
We will be there, and I'll have microphone in hand, so be careful.
Okay.
We may have you on a live Apter chat. You never know. Well, this one's live, so.
All you have to do is ask, Bill.
I know. That'll be a taped one. So I'm looking forward to it, Joe. Ring of Honor, WrestleMania weekend. Go to the website, ROHWrestling.com. All the details, and I'll see you there. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks. Thank you, Bill. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Wow, Joe Koff. All right, right now we are almost at our hour here, and it's time now to go into the water. The shock. The shark, not the shock. Let's go right now to SmackDown. The Gonzo Shark. Let's go right now to his weekly SmackDown Live rankings. Gonzo.
Humanoids. This is Gonzo Shark for Bill Apter's Video Magazine podcast.
Oh, we got to plug him in.
Swimming the waters of SmackDown Live for a week, and I've sunk my teeth into the men's division to bring you this week's top 10. At number 10 is one half of the SmackDown Live Tag Team Champions, Jimmy Uso. At number 9, a man who's trying to find his road to WrestleMania, the Lone Wolf, Baron Corbin. At number 8, former United States Champion, Bobby Roode. Okay. At number 7, a man who is one of the most legitimate superstars in WWE, and I say it every single week, the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal. At number 6, one half of the Bludgeon Brothers, Luke Harper.
Yeah.
At number 5, Sami Zayn. At number 4, his partner in crime, Kevin Owens. And I don't know about you, but I smell a tag team match at WrestleMania with Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens going against Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, we smell it too.
Seems pretty obvious to me after what we witnessed the past 2 weeks on SmackDown Live.
Yeah.
At number 3, the number 1 contender for the WWE Championship at WrestleMania, the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura. At number 2, United States Champion, the Viper, Randy Orton. And at number 1, just as he is every week, the phenomenal WWE Champion, AJ Styles.
All right, Gonzo, don't go away because we need the top 10 women rankings.
Good evening, humanoids. This is Gonzo Shark for Bill Apter's Video Magazine podcast. It is my privilege and my duty to once again bring you this week's WWE Women's Top 10 rankings. So coming in at number 10 is the Queen of Hearts, Natalya. At number 9 is a woman who's having a lot of troubles with her best friend as of late, Bayley. At number 8, the Boss, Sasha Banks. At number 7, a newcomer in the WWE who is finding a lot of success over the past few months, Mandy Rose.
Yeah.
At number 6, her partner in 1/3 of Absolution, Sonya Deville.
Tough lady.
At number 5, the Princess of Staten Island, Miss Money in the Bank, Carmella. At number 4, now the number 1 contender for Alexa Bliss's Raw Women's Championship at WrestleMania, one of the baddest women, if not the baddest woman in the WWE Women's Division, is Nia Jax. At number 3,
Tima with Strowman,
the Empress of Tomorrow, Asuka. At number 2, SmackDown Live Women's Champion, Charlotte Flair. And at number 1 for the second week in a row, Raw Women's Champion, Alexa Bliss.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of my rankings? Do you agree with them? Is there some other way that you would rank the girls? I'd like to know. So you should follow me on Twitter and hit me up on Twitter at GonzoShark1 and on Facebook.com/GonzoShark1. Please look for all of my material at OneWrestling.com, Vince Russo's The Brand, and WrestlingWithWrestling.com. Until next time, the Gonzo Shark checks out. Back to you, Bill.
Back to the waters, Gonzo Shark. Thank you. I'm going to do something before we close this week, because I usually like to do an hour. Before we went on the air, I got a call from Gary Morgenstein. He used to be an editor of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And I said to him, I can't talk to you. I'm getting set for a show. I'll call you a little bit later. So you know what? We're live. Let's call Gary Morgenstein. See what happens here.
Gary Morgenstein, please leave a message after the beep. Thanks.
Please leave a message after
At the
the
tone,
beep.
please record your message.
Gary.
When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Gary, this is Bill Apter. You called me. I said I'd give you a call back probably. So I'm live on YouTube right now. It's 8:03, and I got your machine. I thought you were going to have your phone with you. So, man, oh, man, we called him Morgie. So he was one of my favorite people at back in the old days of Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So that's it. We'll try and get him next time, or I'll let you know what he said. So don't forget, also, plug time, Total Wrestling Magazine, the only pro wrestling magazine that I currently write for. Don't forget, my book is Wrestling Fixed. I didn't know it was broken. Get it on Amazon, your favorite bookstore. High Spots, by the way, for years has been selling this shoot interview. I wanted to show you. So go to highspots.com. You can get that. Awesome Wrestling Entertainment is bringing me to New Orleans to WrestleCon. I will be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday. My one-man show, go to Kayfabe Events on Facebook. That will be that Thursday night at, late afternoon, 5 o'clock, so you can get to all the other things that are going on. It'll be a warm-up to Mania weekend, and I'm telling you, you'll have a great time. Free refreshments. with admission. I'll have my book there, and special guests will be there. I know that C.W. Anderson, who's the independent wrestler, Awesome Wrestling Entertainment, current world champion, and my buddy Short Sleeve Samson will all be there. I'm getting the cutoff sign right now, so you can watch this on the replay. And thank you. I'm sorry again that I couldn't answer all your questions. We'll do another night just with let's sit and chat for an hour. Bill Apter. Matches. Do I want to end the stream? No, but I have to.